In the previous lesson, we saw all the options that we have here to export. So by clicking local file, we can see all the options that we have here. We have the possibility to export the video to Screencast, to Vimeo if you have an account, to Google Drive and YouTube. For any one of them, you have to have an account so that you can export your video to those platforms. For example, if I use Google Drive and go ahead, you can see that I have to sign in with Google, and then I have here the possibility to give it a title, a folder. In this case it's called TechSmith. Otherwise I can browse any one of my folders in Google Drive in order to export that video there. Okay, the same thing goes for the other platform. What I suggest you to do is just to produce the file as a local file, as we've seen, verify it, and then you can upload it directly into those web pages. Otherwise, if you made a mistake, you have to come back and re-upload the video to those platforms. Then we have different options here for MP4 up to 480, 720. It depends on the device that you want to play the video, or if you want to send the video by email, or in some way that you want to send a preview, or you don't want a very heavy file, then you can opt in for one of these options. Then we have the same thing but with a Smart Player, and remember that if we don't select Smart Player, and we have the subtitles included, the subtitles are not going to be exported separately, but they're going to be embedded in the video. And then we have custom production settings and add edit presets. Add edit preset. For example, I have this preset here, screencast. Why? Because you can go and add edit preset, and you can click new, for example, and choose one of these options here, MP4 or any of these videos format, WMV, Windows Media Video, audio, video interleave, animation file if you want to create a GIF, for example, a GIF animation of your video that is going to be very lightweight. You can choose the frame rate. For example, if you want the file to be very small, you can choose, for example, 5 frames per second instead of 30, and you go ahead, and then you can customize also the width and height, or use the current, and so on. If you want to include a watermark, and then you click finish and you give it a name, okay, and it's called Untitled. Or you can edit one. For example, I have this one that I created for screencast. If you go to add edit preset, and I'm going to click on edit, and you're going to see what I have here. I have MP4 Smart Player, but here I don't select to produce a controller because I don't want to export the player. I'm just interested in producing the video. Size, I leave the size as is, the same size that I chose for creating the video. Video settings, these are my settings for screencast. I select a frame rate of 15 because for screencast that's enough, okay, as quality. 5 keyframes per second. Here I leave the default values, baseline and auto, and for quality I put 70. Okay, if when you select MP4 up to 1080, the quality is set to 60. But for some kind of screencasting where you have a lot of text, I think it's not enough. It's not enough, and that's why I select 70. If you go more than 75, you can see that it says setting quality above 75 often results in much larger file with clear improvement in visual quality. It's true, I did some tests and the quality is almost the same. Otherwise, you can change bitrate, and from 2000 and up you have a good quality, okay, but I choose this one. I go to quality, I put 75, and that's what I use. Okay, so for if you're recording your screen, 15 frames and 75 of quality are enough. So I go ahead, and those are my settings for exporting videos like this one that I'm recording now. Then if you want, for example, to have a different settings, let's create one and let's call it talking head. I'm gonna leave the same options that I have for screencast, but the difference is that I'm gonna change here to 30 frames. Why? Because we're not gonna have the screen and text, but we're gonna have a talking head. And here for quality, I can put the highest if I want to, or 75. As I told you, you can test if there is any difference from 75 up to the maximum. And you go ahead, and in this way you have two different presets, one for screencasting and another one when you're also recording your webcam. You can use talking head. In this way you have both the webcam and the screen. If you select custom production settings, is the same. You can choose one of these options, MP4, one of these formats, and according to the format you can change some settings. If I choose MP4, then I can change the size here. Okay, and I can put 720 or whatever value, 640, and then I keep the ratio. Okay, I can change here the video settings. These settings are kept when with the last modified. So according to your needs, you can modify those parameters, and then you go ahead and then you produce with that setting. And in this case, you don't have that setting as a preset, but just for this production that you're doing now, you have those options if you want to use those options only once. Okay, so those are the options that we have for exporting. And also audio here, my settings are 192 kilobytes per second. I think that's enough. 128 would be good also, but that's my settings, because for screencasting, for podcasting, 192 is enough. Okay, I hope you liked this lesson and that is worthy for your exporting. See you soon. Bye.